Hey y'all, Father Jim Haney from St. Paul's in the Plains in Lubbock and Texas Tech Canterbury. There are lots of great high school mascots in Texas. When I taught in Lockney, there was alliteration. It was the Lockney Longhorns, and we would sometimes play the Rawls Rabbits and the Crest Kangaroos. My favorite alliterative name is the Hutto Hippos. There aren't many hippo mascots, but there is one in Hutto down near Austin and Round Rock. There are some other great names as well. Mesquite Skeeters, the Farmersville Farmers. You have some fun names like that. But one of my very favorites, especially I think the best high school mascot in our diocese, is here in Hamlin, Texas. The PIPERS of Hamlin. What a great name. Yeah, they spell Hamlin a little bit differently. There's a missing E from the town that the story originated from, but it's still a great, great name for a mascot, the Pied Pipers of Hamlin. And yet that story of the Pied Piper is a very dark story. If you remember it, it was set in the late 1200s, early around 1300, somewhere in there, and it may have been based on real events, or at least trying to explain some real events of some disappearances of some children in that town, whether to disease or something more nefarious. But if you remember the story, there's a rat infestation. Maybe it has something to do with bubonic plague. There are scholars that argue those kinds of things. But they hire a traveling piper, and the piper comes and plays his pipe, and the rats follow him out of town, and he drowns them in the river. Then he comes back into town to get his payment for ridding the town of its pests, and they refuse to pay him, so he gets his pipe out and lures the children away. And there are variations on the story. Sometimes the children are taken into a cave and never seen again. Sometimes he takes them over the hill to some other place. Sometimes they too are drowned in the river. I think the important thing for us is that idea of who do we follow? What kind of piper call is coming at us in our culture? What voices do we listen to? What voices will we follow? And are they voices that bring us to life, or do they lead to destruction? The Pied Piper ultimately is a voice of destruction in the story. And we have many, many voices that compete for our attention, many, many messages. You are what you earn, you are how you look, and you are who you are based on how productive you are as a member of society. We have all these messages coming at us. You are who you are based on what products you consume, what products you buy, what kind of things you own. And yet, in one of the most prosperous nations in the history of the entire world, we're often not happy because these voices do not ultimately bring us to life. They are not messages that are life-giving, life-bringing. We need to listen to other voices. And this is the season of Lent. And during Lent, it's a perfect opportunity to try to turn down all those other voices that are telling us who we are based on other categories and listen to God's voice. Who we are ultimately is we are children of God. We are His beloved. We are created in His image. We are called to do His work. We are called to love Him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to share His love with others, to love our neighbors as ourselves. So there are many, many siren calls out there that you could follow. But during Lent, seek the voice of the one who truly loves you, who truly has your best interests at heart. Follow Him to the way that leads to true and meaningful life. God bless from Hamlin, Texas.